Tyler, Texas. Population 100,000. Surrounded by hundreds of thousands of homes on septic systems. And right now, someone in Smith County has sewage backing up into their bathroom and they're searching for septic service Tyler on their phone. This is a real market with real money, and almost no one in this market is actually doing local SEO. While the gurus are telling you that you can't compete without a $5,000 a month budget, I'm about to show you search results where a single well-built website could honestly dominate the entire county. If you aren't in the map pack, in the top 3, when that tank overflows, you may as well not exist. Period. So today, I'm breaking down what happens when you take that same Core 30 framework that wins for Houston personal injury attorney and point it at a market where the competition forgot to show up. I'm going to show you exactly what's ranking, why it's ranking, and the gap that's sitting there waiting for someone to walk into. And we might even talk about a history lesson on the local operators who had this market locked up 15 years ago and lost it to Google without even realizing it happened. I run a 7-figure local SEO agency. We manage hundreds of local businesses across the country, and everything I'm about to show you is what we do for real clients every single day. Let's get started. Septic service, Tyler, Texas. Let's see what we got. I haven't done the search before. All right, so first sign, no ads. This is a sign that this is likely not a very competitive space. Usually we see ads when people really care about ranking. Now, instead of looking really hard at just these 3, I'm gonna hit more businesses. I wanna see all of the results, not just the top 3. Don't worry, no one actually does this. My favorite joke in SEO, it's the only one I know. Where's the best place to hide a dead body? This second place of Google search results, that starts with robles here. The 4th result is the first result on the 2nd page for local. I don't think you could hide a dead body in the septic tank. I don't think. Anyway, all right. Checking reviews, I think is very interesting. Okay, ANA, this is a business name that likely dates back to the Yellow Pages, which listed them alphabetically. That's pretty funny. 137, then we get 25, 46, 52, 54. So these 2 have more reviews than the ones that are ranked 2nd and 3rd, but only a 4.3 there. But, 4.8, he's ranked better than them. Let's see if there's any other. 61 at a 4.9, they're all the way down there. We got 55 at a perfect 5, they're all the way down there. 173, wow, that's more than any of them. Okay, so I'm definitely interested in checking out this one. They are closing soon, but they're not closed yet. All right, and then I'll take a look at the number 1 ranked. I always like taking a look at businesses that aren't ranked very well, but they have a lot of reviews. Because if they have a lot of reviews, that means they do good work, they care about their business, they probably have someone helping them go and get those reviews, but somehow they just haven't figured out how to do local SEO. And especially for this service, which is not super competitive, if they've spent the effort to get 170 reviews, they should be ranking. So we'll take a look at their site, but first we'll take a look at ANA, the number 1 ranked septic service for septic service Tyler, Texas. All right, new website. The first thing I always look at is the title tag. I want to see the primary category and city name. We have septic service in Tyler. Great. The minor mistake that they have here, again, they're ranked number 1, but this is a very low competition. If the competition were higher, this would be more important. So their minor mistake, their brand should be at the back of the title tag instead of at the front. Earlier in the title tag, the words come, the more weight Google gives those words. They'll always rank for their brand name, so the brand name should be at the end. Minor fix. H1 is the next thing I always look at for an H1 tag. This does triple duty. Number 1, it's telling Google, reinforcing your primary category and city name. Number 2, you're telling an LLM what's important about you, the single most important attribute about your business. And number 3, you're trying to convert a user to actually call. So let's see how they did with their H1. Protecting East Texans since 2001. So horrible. Again, a sign of how low this competition is. They aren't mentioning the city name. They aren't mentioning what the service is. They aren't mentioning why we should care about them. They do mention the city name of the services here in the subheading, but I really think this H1 can be improved. Not for ranking, right? They're already ranked number 1, low competition. This H1 can be improved for conversion, for talking to the LLMs. A lot of room here to make this better. All right, so we'll scroll down. Last thing is, so this is good, okay? This isn't amazing. This is much better than what I was expecting. What I was expecting to see was a history lesson about ANA septic services. That's what most businesses put in the first content on their website. But right, if somebody just searched for septic services Tyler, what do you think they're looking for? Are they looking for a history lesson on your business? No. They're obviously looking for septic services, okay? The first content that we have here, we want to start talking to the human, to the searcher. What makes you different? Why should they call you? So this is like a 6 out of 10, but honestly, for this area, I was expecting it to be a lot worse. So not horrible. Pumping services, some images. Oh, right on the lake. Hopefully that doesn't leak ever. All right, learn more. What do these learn mores go to? Okay, so these go to individual service pages. That's very good. Aerobic systems, and aerobic systems is septic tank pumping. And if I open that up, I end up on a page for septic tank, just septic service, but I guess that's pumping. So not bad, okay? So they are building up the core 30. They have pages for their individual services here. You have good reason why they're ranking so high. And we'd like seeing it on the homepage. There's probably a few more than what I would normally do, but again, not bad. I like that they have financing options. I would probably want to highlight this more. I would put the financing options above all of these different service pages. That's likely something that sets them apart from a lot of their competitors, especially smaller competitors probably don't have the ability to finance it. So this is pretty cool. Now, family owned and operated since 2001, sure. But again, not really what I'm after. I really want to hear why them. What makes them different other than the financing? This is not a GVP embed. Wild. Okay. So we do like to see GVP embeds. We come down here and we have another financing and all of this. So let's see how big the website is out of curiosity. Website size, which is how many results are indexed, is a key sign that we look for competitiveness. So 30 is pretty small. 30 indexed pages is pretty small. So again, that's a sign that the competition in this space is actually quite low. Let's take a look at what kind of structured data we have. Structured data is code that tells Google and tells AI systems who you are, what you do, that you're a local business, it's linked with your GBP, all of these things. So we have no structured data. Okay, so they should get structured data. It obviously won't help their ranking because they're ranked number 1, but structured data is going to help them recommended by AI systems. And that's more and more important. The current search traffic to AI systems is minuscule. It's very low. But a couple of months ago, Google rolled out the Ask Maps feature, which introduced Gemini to local search results. And we need to make sure that Gemini can recognize your business and recommend your business to users. Structured data is an easy way to make that happen. Very low-hanging fruit. They could easily implement structured data in 15 minutes. So that's definitely something they should do, even though they're ranked number 1. Okay, so a couple of things that we saw where they could potentially improve, but overall pretty good. It looks like they have a core 30. They have 30 pages indexed. They have individual service pages. So, not bad, but they're definitely ranking because how low the competition is, not because their website is perfect. Now, that makes me kind of nervous if we check out our septic services. Joey Ridgle, which again, more reviews than anyone else in the top 3, but they're ranked much, much lower. So let's see. Do they have the primary category and city name in the title tag? They have Murchison, Texas. So that could be part of the reason that they're ranked so low, because they're not actually in Tyler, and I searched for Tyler. So that could be part of it. But septic services there, septic and sanitation contractor, Murchison, Texas. Okay. Let's just see how big their website is. 108. So that's a pretty big website for this area. Dependable, why choose? And all of these are individual service pages. Very nice. Okay, so this is better than I was expecting. We have some social proof. That should be higher on the page, not all the way down here. Member of the Chamber of Commerce. So and member of the BBB, so when we talk about building external authority, building trust. Now that's building trust both with Google and with the AI system. What we mean when we say building trust is basically sourcing quality links, okay? Now, the easiest way to get a quality link for almost any local business in the United States is to join the Chamber of Commerce. So they've done that. They've also joined the BBB. They've joined these other areas. fabulous. This is exactly, multiple chambers of commerce. This is exactly what we do for our clients to get high quality local links that move the needle on ranking. We have some clients that we will literally join a dozen different chambers of commerce for them for more competitive spaces. So love to see this. Definitely a big part their rank. A video embed, that's awesome. Really important to get Gemini to recognize the business. Gemini is, of course, owned by Google and is trained on YouTube videos. So when we put YouTube videos and embed them, that's a signal to Gemini that you own that YouTube video. And you can teach Gemini about your business by embedding YouTube videos on your page. But we don't see any GBP embed. Let's see what sort of schema we might have. So the video, local business, and website. So not bad, not bad. That's pretty good. Now, what's interesting about this one is because the area is so large, that might be a part of how we're getting kind of conflicting reports, right? So Joey Ridgle, I think, is a pretty good example. Like, they have great reviews. The website's pretty good. They have social proof up here. It's a large website, but it's ranking pretty poor for the Tyler, Texas search. So what I'm going to actually do is run a quick rank map for Joey Ridgle, if I could pronounce it, and ANA Septic Services, because I wanted to actually see the rank maps. Let's see if we can find Joey Ridgle. Joey Ridgle in Murchison, Texas. That's it. All right, so I'm going to make this a little bit bigger, and we're going to do septic service, and we're going to run the scan. All right, now over here, we're going to do ANA Septic Services. This one might be a little bit tougher. I might need to enter the location. A veterinary office. Weird. There it is, ANA Septic Service on Tyler, Texas. Perfect. And we're going to run the same size. I hit 5 miles. And we're going to run it for the same keyword. So it's interesting, right, that for Google Maps, proximity is, of course, a significant rank factor. Google Maps cares about 3 rank factors: proximity, trust, and relevance. That's why we run these heat maps. All right, so here are the 2 businesses. We got Joey Ridgle and ANA Septic, and I'm a little surprised. They're not in super dissimilar locations. ANA is a little bit farther east. They're a little bit farther west. Tyler's right over here, and Dallas is right up there. They're ranked reasonably well nearby. They're ranked much, much better than Joey Ridgle. So kind of a surprise, right? Joey Ridgle had a decent website, a larger website, more reviews. So what that tells us is that the Joey Ridgle website has basically done something that Google doesn't like. And we could dive in here a little bit. 110, I wonder what those 110 are made up of, because 110 is pretty large. So let's see, we have septic service, reviews, blog, careers. So the blog might be a problem because a blog is a lot of content that Google doesn't really care about. And it's kind of funny. I was just about to use an example that if you're writing a weekly blog post, and weekly blog posts, in all honesty, weekly blog posts are basically like a pox on business owners. One of the biggest myths, they waste so much time, energy, effort from local business owners to sit there and try to write a weekly blog post. It's ridiculous. It makes me feel horrible. And my classic example of wasted blog posts are like 5 ways to winterize your water heaters or something like that, right? The plumber wants to rank for water heater replacement. Giving 5 tips on getting your water heater ready for the next season is not providing topical relevance or geographical relevance for trying to rank for water heater replacement. And right here, 5 signs your septic tank needs immediate attention. That is not giving topical or geographical relevance for this business. So they have a large website relative to this space, and it looks like a lot of that content is generic blog content that isn't actually helping them rank. So this is a problem. This is where we would run like a screaming frog scan. We'd get an idea of their website that would pull all the H1 tags, all the title tags. We'd run something like that through Claude or an AI and ask Claude to take a first pass. Hey, look at this content. What of this makes sense for someone who's trying to rank for septic tank service in this area? Now, markets like Tyler for a service like this are pretty much exactly why I built AI SEO Mastery. You don't need a massive budget. You don't need a perfect framework pointed at the perfect website that has amazing technical details and perfect speed. We break down markets like this all the time in that group. There's a link in the description if you're interested in joining the 3,300 members who are already there to learn about how to use AI to do SEO faster. That's the first step I would take with Joey Ridgle here, is just to make sure that the content on their site makes sense, that Google agrees with it. I'd also want to audit their Google business profile. I'd want to make sure that their GBP has the right categories, has the right services listed on it. And then I would want to make sure that their website has a category page and service page for every single one of those. And I want to make sure the website content is linked together and structured in the exact same way that the GBP is. Doing all of those things correctly will improve their rank position. Their menu is too large. I feel like this is too many things on the menu. I don't like lots of links. Queues here doesn't make sense to me. If these should be integrated on the actual page itself, not like as its own landing page like that. I've already talked about how, this content isn't great. They should really be highlighting what makes them different, what makes them special. So overall, ANA, they're doing a much better job than Joey Ridgle with a much smaller website, okay? And that's the important distinction. If you structure your website in a way that Google can understand it, that the AI systems can understand it, it's not budget, it's not large websites that win, it's the structure to help Google understand your entity, your service entity, and your location, the city entity that you're in. I'm curious what ChatGPT thinks. Optimizing for ChatGPT is almost the exact same thing as optimizing for Google Search. Doing everything correct in Google Search is often what ChatGPT also wants to see. There's a couple of additional things that we might focus on for ChatGPT, but most of optimizing for ChatGPT is just good local SEO. And not surprisingly, ANA septic tank service, that's the #1 result from Google. It's the #1 result for ChatGPT. We see this pretty often. The overlap between businesses recommended by ChatGPT and businesses that are ranking well in Google is close to around 50%. But in small markets like this one, where the competitors just aren't basically doing anything, we see a much larger overlap. All right, so that was Tyler, Texas, a market and a service where the right framework can basically dominate an entire county. So if you like that angle, you're also going to like what happened when I run the same teardown in Milan. I was looking for a tailor in Milan, a city where tailoring has been an art form for 400 years, and somehow the shops winning Google today aren't the ones with the deepest history. They're the ones who understood one thing about local SEO that the legends never bothered to learn. Different country, same story. Check that one out next.